Welcome to RCAM. I'm your host, Ryan, and thank you for tuning in today. So, today, take three of our Moana review. I've been this this particular stream, every time I've tried to do it, I've had technical problems. Anyway, we should be good. We should be good. Lord willing, we're good. And I was debating whether I was going to edit this, like pre-record and edit, then throw it up. But I decided against it because I wanted to do it live. I'm doing it live. But maybe I'm thinking because I plan on doing more reviews. I enjoy it. I enjoy reviewing content, specifically movies. I love movies. I'm a big movie buff, but I do plan on doing more of it. So I'm going to be experimenting. But I think the next movie I'm going to do is The Wild Robot because I just watched that with my daughter. Probably a lot of family friendly movies because that's mainly what I watch. But me and my wife are watching Cobra Kai. I don't know why we haven't started sooner, but that is excellent. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're not here to talk about Cobra Kai or Wild Robot. We're here to review Moana. So that's what we're going to do today. So, just after Thanksgiving, me and my family went to go see Moana 2. My daughter was a huge fan of the first movie, so we had high expectations for Moana 2. And one of the best things about that movie was the popcorn bowl. She got this really cool popcorn bowl, and she was super stoked about it. So that was cool. But the movie overall, a letdown. Thank God my daughter's only 6, so she can't tell that it is a bad movie, but it is a bad movie. It just is. It's just, and I'm not somebody here that's, a movie reviewer. I'm just a guy that watches movies and talks about them. That's it. I'm not like a professional. I'm not a critic. I just give my opinions, give my 2 cents, and I just thought this movie was not very good, not very good at all. It was kind of all over the place. But anyway, Moana 2 follows Moana 3 years after the events of the first film, which was released in 2016, and she received this unexpected call to become a wayfinder from her ancestors, and this compels her to embark on this journey across the sea. And this time, she is searching for a lost island called Matufitu, which was sunk by an evil storm god named Nalo to isolate the island people from one another. So that is the plot in a nutshell. And we'll play a quick trailer of this, and then we'll get into it.
You wanted to come this time.
You were gone forever.
It was 3 days.
Where are we going?
Before Maui stole Tifiti's heart, our ancestors wanted to connect our island to all the people of the entire ocean. It's my job as a wayfinder to finish what they started.
Moana, show our people just how far we'll go.
This is a call from the ancestors.
Hidden in a terrible storm, it's an ancient island. Setting foot on its sands would break the curse, bring our people together again.
I know what I have to do. Maui, I could really use your help.
Can I get a chee-hoo?
You will be destroyed, and your wayfinder too.
Now I kind of miss the lava monster. Ow! Ow!
What if you don't come back?
I'll be back. I promise.
Do I hear people?
Those aren't people. Cock 'em.
All right, so that's the trailer, and you learn a decent amount about the plot of the film from that trailer alone. So obviously, she is sailing to find her long lost ancestors. And and eventually she finds an island, and she finds one of these little pieces of pottery, and she discovers that there are other people out there. So this is what kind of sets the plot in motion. And by the way, if you don't want spoilers, which this is mainly so that parents are prepared for their kids, um, probably don't watch this. Just saying, I'm gonna give spoilers. So she finds this pot, and now she is on this journey to find this lost tribe. So now the plot is in motion, and I the sequel does retain that adventurous spirit, and you kind of get that vibe from the trailer. I mean, the trailer leads you to believe that the film is going to be much better than what it actually is. Because they got the call to adventure, they got another big bad. So you see the storm, and Maui even says that he misses the lava monster. And after watching this movie, you'll miss the lava monster too, because it was a much better villain. We'll talk about the villain too, because the villain was lackluster at best. Anyway, so she's on this new adventure, and this time she's joined by a new crew. So there will be new relationship dynamics, and her little sister has gotten older, so they create some tension with her sister. But she ultimately finds this piece of pottery, and she returns home, goes back to her island, and this is when we are reintroduced to her little sister. So this is a plot point for the movie, and she feels torn about leaving the island because she doesn't want to leave her little sister. And that was fine, but I don't think it was compelling enough to make any real significant impact in the story. And they did, they recreated some of the moments from the first film. So here you have the little sister on the beach, and the water interacts with her the same way it interacted with Moana. So you have that, and you have this dynamic between her and her sister. And then you have a scene where Granny comes back from the dead, and this brings me to one of my issues with this film. What's the point of dying in this film? All right, this isn't also the first time her dead granny reappears in this movie. She reappears a couple times, as she did in the first movie. So what's the point of dying if you just come back as like a ghost, where you can kind of come and go as you please? It cheapens death in these movies. It doesn't make it as significant if Grandma is going to come back every time Moana needs some words of encouragement. And it doesn't give Moana the tenacity to struggle, her character to struggle through moments where she constantly has Granny to kind of give her, wise words to nudge along. Now, I could respect maybe if she had like a flashback sequence and she remembered something her grandma said. That could work. But just bringing back her grandma's ghost every time she needs words of encouragement is silly. And it's not just her grandma. I mean, she's meeting up with dead people left and right in this movie. She meets, her dead ancestors, as she did in the first movie. And they're the ones that are basically calling her on this hero's journey to reconnect all the island's people, which, by the way, that alone, that plot point. Oh, okay. So you're just trying to connect everybody. Like, it just wasn't compelling. Like, the stakes didn't feel particularly high for me. Like, if you don't connect everybody, then well, things just stay the same. So you didn't have this like world-ending peril that you had in the first film, where she is dealing with having to save her island from basically starving to death, because I guess Tafiti is darkness is spreading to the all the islands. So a lot more was at stake in the first film than this second film, for sure. So anyway, Moana learns of her heritage, and she gets like a vision, and she knows she's supposed to follow this comment that's conveniently leads her right exactly where she has to go. And now, now she is ready to re-embark, and she's having this pull from her little sister to stay, but obviously she goes, and she is joined by some new companions. So you have here, hide my camera for a second. You have here this uh, girl over on the left. She is apparently British, so she's the only British person on this island, and it made me think, maybe I'm thinking too deep on this, but how the hell is she able to, how is she able to the only one with this accent and nobody else has it makes no sense. So she has an accent, and that's weird because they're supposed to be disconnected from all people, so they haven't had contact with any other people outside of their own island. So weird that she has an accent, but whatever, forgivable. Anyway, she's smart and clever, and she's the one that's going to, help them fix their boat, and she's the engineer. So she's like the brains kind of the, at least the mechanical aspect of navigating there. So, she's fine. Then you have this guy. All right. This character's name is Moni, and he's, I guess, a historian, and he specifically is very knowledgeable on Maui. So they tap him because of his historical knowledge and strength, but despite him being depicted as physically strong, he acts extremely gay and effeminate throughout the entire film. He is fangirling over Maui, and they even go out of their way to have him put his hands on Maui's chest. It's really weird, it's uncomfortable, and in Maui, even in the movie, the character, they call this behavior out. So they're inserting this weird moment that they know is weird, that they're using one of the characters they wrote into the story to call it out for being weird. So definitely, you know, that was Disney's little, homosexual dig into the series, because no grown man acts this way. It's extremely gay, and again, extremely effeminate. And then you have finally over here in the other corner, we have Keeley, and he's a grumpy elderly farmer. I'm not really sure why he's there, to be honest. He didn't really do anything. He's there to help them grow crops on the boat so they can eat. And that's it. That's his job. That's all he does. I know. And maybe a little bit of comic relief. He says some snarky comments, but that's about it. So, and then you're of course joined by, you can't be a Disney film without the animal sidekicks. So you have this animal named Pua, and then you have the chicken named Hey Hey. So they return, and they're also on there for basically comic relief and have a cute animal sidekick, because that's what Disney does. So anyway, they are on a journey now to find this island, and break the curse, because there's got to be a curse. And they encounter the coconut dudes again. All right. And, the coconut dudes were, villains in the first movie. But Disney is, continuing their arc that the villains are really just misunderstood good guys. And Moana and her companions end up befriending the evil coconuts. And they work together to stop this giant clam from eating their boats. And they get sucked into the clam, and they end up in this underwater ocean. I don't know, it's a little weird, a little confusing, but one Kakamora, I think this one, tags along with them and helps Moana on her journey. Now, at this point, we are reintroduced to, well, Maui, we were reintroduced to him a little bit earlier on the movie, and he's literally tied up by this bat lady. And there's this dialogue between him and this bat lady, and she is using Maui as bait to get Moana to the island, and it worked. Moana's on the island now, and she, before she gets reunited with Maui, her and her crew get separated, and she encounters the bat lady. Now, they were building up this bat lady as the big bad. I mean, look at how ominous it looks. Super ominous, real bad guy vibes. But it turns out she's not really that bad. She actually, helps Moana. And her whole plan there was just help Moana. Kidnap Maui to help Moana. Why? Why? I don't know. That was her plan, though. So Moana could break the curse and she could be free from her imprisonment or whatever. So it turns out she did have, I think, probably out of a series of lackluster songs, probably the most catchy one, but also the song with the most negative message. I mean, the song is literally called "Get Lost," and it's about getting lost and throwing out all your inhibitions and taking risks and living life dangerously. Not I don't think that's very positive. Positive. I don't think it's a positive message. But it was the most catchy song, so I will give them that. So yeah, you have this film that they don't do anything with her other than help Moana, realize, that she's supposed to, you know, get lost and not navigate and plan everything. So that was like her whole point. And anyway, Moana ends up reuniting with Maui and the gang, and now they're going to fight the big bad. And the big bad is a giant storm. That's pretty much it. Now there's a god that's causing the storm, but you never see him. You just see the storm. So the big bad is just climate change. That's what the big bad is. Climate change. And so this was their big boss battle, and it was very reminiscent of the first movie because she's sailing, she's trying to get to this island, just like she's trying to return the heart of the Tafiti. Now, here's the thing that just kind of boggled my mind. So their whole goal is that they have to physically touch. She has to touch this island to break the curse. So they come up with this plan that Maui is going to use his hook to pull up the island from the sea because he's a god and he can do that. So that's their plan. And they go through hell trying to make it happen. Maui's, using his hook to try to pull the island up. They're sailing, trying to make their way to the island. This storm god is using, thunder tornadoes or lightning tornadoes to attack Maui. They end up destroying Moana's ship. And then she has the epiphany. You realizes, oh, instead of Maui pulling up the island to the sea or to the surface, I'm going to go underwater and touch the island that way. And I thought about it. I'm like, she's on a boat with, this wise elderly man and this really smart engineering chick and a god that's been around for a long, long time. And none of them had the idea, oh, yeah, you should just swim down. Maui can literally turn into a shark. It would have been really easy. He could have just grabbed his fin, boom, touched the island, broke the curse, done. But no, they do this convoluted plan where he's going to hook the mountain and pull it up from under the sea to break the curse to reunite all the peoples of the world. So Moana, does her, swims to the bottom of the ocean. She does her self-sacrificial moment. She breaks the curse. She ends up, I guess, dying in the process. And she's now surrounded by the rest of the spirits because the spirits just keep making cameos. They just keep appearing. And she gets brought back to life. So she comes back to life and the curse is broken. The end. So the island is now restored to its former glory. Nalo's curse is broken. And now all the people in the world are united. And Moana blows her conch. And then just like that, all the people of the world start sailing. Which is also funny to me because it's like, oh, they were just waiting with their boats to sail toward this island. How did they get there so quick? Was the current from the water bringing them at like record speed? And this is one of the things that I had an issue with toward the end. So she unites all the people of the world, all right? She brings them all together, and you have all these people sailing toward the island, and you think like, "Oh, this is like a real good opportunity for them to like capture all the different people groups around the world." They don't do that. Disney doesn't do that. They She does reunite with people groups all over the world, but they're either like Pacific Islanders or African. And no white people. They don't exist in this world. They're not allowed. It would have been cool if you saw some, you know, African people coming, people from Asia, Europeans coming, Viking coming, like all different types of people, but they don't do that. So that rubbed me the wrong way. I thought that was a missed opportunity for them to do something cool, and they chose not to do it. And yeah, so that is the review of the movie in a nutshell. Also, a couple things that they don't explain. All right, that just annoy me. All right, it just seemed like the writers like, oh yeah, we're not going to explain how this happened. So there's this one moment where Moana has to open this portal to get her to this underwater ocean, or this ocean in another world, and she just knows the phrase to say to open this portal, and they don't explain how she knows it. She just knows it. She just knows exactly what to do. No explanation. I'm like, what? I don't What was that about? And then the bat lady, like they leave it open, like they're going to revisit this relationship with the bat lady. And someone had told me that there was a post-credit scene. I went to look for one. There's no post-credit scene. At least not none that I've seen. So they don't do anything with this story with the Bat Lady. They just forget about her. So what is she? What was the point? What was the point of even introducing her as a potential villain if you don't revisit that? Something, even just a scene or a moment where she's breaking free. It didn't make any sense. So my conclusion: Moana 2 sequel fails to live up to the original. Quite spectacular, thoroughly. The stakes were low, the characters forgettable, the villains were not intimidating. I'm sorry, the storm was not intimidating. The demonic looking lava monster, way more intimidating of a villain. And there was way more at stake during the first movie. Because again, the consequences of them failing this mission, failing to unite the people of the world, is that they just stay on their own island. They just keep, eating coconuts and sailing around the ocean. That's it. So I don't. The stakes didn't seem particularly high to me, and the jokes were kind of redundant. They do the same jokes with the stupid chicken and being a boat snack, and they just do the same things over again. And the songs were subpar. I mean, there were maybe two memorable songs in the whole movie, and they weren't that good. The best song I thought was the one the villain did, and yeah, it just wasn't good. So it appears, I think this movie was or this movie was originally planned to be a Disney Plus series. That was the plans for it, and they decide to make a movie. I actually think they would have been better off just making it a Disney Plus series, or just skipping the theatrical release altogether and just putting it straight to streaming, because it was not a great movie. And overwhelmingly, people agree with that sentiment. People were not impressed. I haven't seen anybody ranting and raving about this movie. I haven't seen really any positive reviews about it. Mostly nobody's even talking about it. Now, I'm talking about it because I just want other parents to be aware of the film. And I'm talking about because I, I I've had to watch Moana 1 like 1,000 times. Okay, this is life as a dad. So when you watch a movie like 1,000 times, either actively or passively, you get a little invested. So when they release a sequel, you're excited for your kid. You're a little excited. You go to see the movie, and it's just a huge letdown. It's just a huge letdown. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on this movie. So I thought it was lacking severely. And there are definitely better movies to spend your money on if you were contemplating taking your kid to go to the movie theaters. Maybe don't do it. Just you can wait. It's one of those movies where you can wait. You're not missing anything. Now, good movies that I highly recommend watching with your kid, at least one, is The Wild Robot. That movie was amazing. It was a very good movie. I really enjoyed it. So did my daughter. So did my wife. It was well done. So that'll probably be in my next review. Then I'll do some reviews of Cobra Kai, and we'll see what else is on the horizon. If you have any suggestions, let me know. I will. I will. I'm definitely open to consideration. If you like this content, if you like this review, please like, share, comment, and let me know your thoughts. Did you think it was a good movie? Did you see it? Did you like it? Do you think I'm wildly off base? I'd love to hear from you. All right, that's going to do it for me today. It seems like this stream was a success, so I'm going to end it. Oop. I'm going to end it now. Deuces.